All right, everybody, welcome back. This is the end of the world, Michael and Stu.
I'm Michael.
And I'm Stu, and we have returned to our main topic after our
Brief sojourn.
Many life events, as I was euphemistically calling them. We went to Canada, saw Oasis. It was wonderful. We had a great
Night
time.
of our lives.
Got to meet all of Michael's family, which was delightful. And then a week later, Michael got married, and I got to meet all of Michael's family again, and
twice in 1 week.
And Maggie's family, and a lot of our friends came up. It was a wonderful time. A wonderful time was had by all. I'm hearing word that it was the wedding of the season. Actually,
We plugged the pod, so I'm expecting a bit of a bounce.
Yeah, there better be. I was telling everyone about. Yeah, you haven't listened to the pod. I got in a fight with someone about how they were refusing to listen to the pod. It was. It's quite. I'll leave it to your imagination, Michael, who that was. But we're back, and we're done with the afterlife for now, though. Mm-hmm. Are we ever really done with the afterlife?
I hope not.
And this week we have a banger, a classic, one of my all-time favorite movies as a kid, and I still quite like it. Terminator 2: Judgment Day.
Yes. 1991 classic.
1991, but set in 1995, oddly. Yeah. That's something I noticed in doing the research for this week. We'll talk about why that is in just a minute. But before that, we got a couple news items. One just hot off the presses. Today, at long last, the Trump letter to Jeffrey Epstein from 2003 has finally surfaced. Mm-hmm. The Epstein estate turned it over to the House Oversight Committee, and it's everything we could have hoped for and more.
That's right.
Trump continues to maintain that it is fake, that the signature...
Well, let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
So he never said it didn't exist, correct? Or did he at first?
I think he always just said it was a hoax.
That it was a hoax. So now he's saying the signature is not his and he didn't write it, right?
That's correct.
So is the idea that he's presenting, is that someone in like current day?
No. Well, that doesn't make sense. They've had the thing.
So he's saying that long ago, how long ago was this?
22 years ago.
That somebody 22 years ago, perhaps anticipating a run for the White House, decided to write a fake letter from Donald Trump with a fake signature? Is that basically the argument?
I mean, Michael, if Obama's parents could have the foresight to print a birth announcement in a Hawaii newspaper in 1962 or whatever, sure. I mean, it's that, right? That's back. What a subtle irony that
right.
Sort of authenticity of document is kind of swinging back on Trump.
Is he saying that maybe someone was told to like write a thing from Donald Trump for Epstein and it just was never him?
Maybe. I mean, I don't think it matters. I mean, his hardcore followers are just going to believe whatever he says. Sure. And just, handwriting analysis says that, yeah, it's like, come on, like that ship is sailed. But what I thought was most interesting was, he famously claimed that he doesn't do drawings.
I love that, yeah.
Which is, and then, 20.
It reminds me of the Prince Andrew defense, right?
I don't sweat.
Ever
since an incident in the Falklands War.
Is there a drawing on there? Oh, good. Easy. I don't do drawing.
Of course, like 10 drawings he'd done at auction surfaced immediately after he said that. But I like the drawing. It's a little bit more tasteful. I think some people were anticipating something quite lewd. And what I most like is that the torso of the beautiful female form that he has enclosed his wonderful poetic utterances in is armless, which I took to be a subtle allusion to the Venus de Milo, which, President Trump has great taste in art. What can we say? I mean, we already know this, but now it's just proven yet again.
It's been confirmed for you?
100%. In fact, let's go higher. 1,000%.
The smoking gun is the Venus de Milo of it all.
As I would say, yes. All right. Well, we'll continue to keep our fingers on the pulse of that story as it develops. I'm sure there will be further salvos in the authenticity wars. But I want to talk as a sort of news item, but also a segue into our main topic about this piece that came out last week in Politico. I've heard a bunch of pods talk about it already. So if you've already heard this on a more famous pod, there'll be time markers in the, skip ahead. But I want to talk about this sort of the story that says the application of AI to our defense systems and even our nuclear readiness systems is inevitable
Good.
as the U.S. strives to keep up with Russia and China.
Always a word that's I feel like more and more a word that's used to then enact great acts of evil or harm.
Oh, yeah.
But this was inevitable.
I feel like always, right? Inevitability as a concept is just like the ultimate sort of like...
Yeah, like the classic argument for AI is like, it's here. That's it. No more discussion. Sorry. Inevitable.
Yeah, no, exactly. This is just an extension of that. It's like, well, it exists. So, I mean, China's using it in their army. We're going to have to use it in ours, There's no choice. The article, as I said, came out last week, but here's a quote that I found particularly relevant. This is about, some testing they've done of what happens. I think this was done with 5 large language models. Almost all of the AI models showed a preference to escalate aggressively.
Oh, good.
Use firepower indiscriminately and turn crises into shooting wars, even to the point of launching nuclear weapons.
Sure, inevitable.
The AI is always playing Curtis LeMay, says Schneider, one of the professors they consulted, referring to the notoriously nuke-happy Air Force general of the Cold War. It's almost like the AI understands escalation, but not de-escalation. We don't really know why that is.
Jeez, Bob, we can't quite figure it out.
It's just like, we don't know. It's almost like, well, no, I mean, it is like, good Curtis LeMay reference. Longtime fans of the pod will recall we talked about him both in episode 6 on Dr. Strangelove and episode 13, which was, of course, on the Cuban Missile Crisis. LeMay was the sort of top Air Force advisor, Joint Chiefs,
ready to escalate,
who always was just like, well, even during the Korean War, he's like, President Truman, I'm afraid time has come for us to nuke.
I'm afraid I simply do not understand de-escalation.
like basically, he's the guy who's I think Ripper in. He's one of the characters in Doctor Strangelove is like a direct parody of LeMay. And if you read anything about the Cuban Missile Crisis and like look at the transcripts, his commentary is just like unilaterally crazed. He's like, I'm afraid the time to nuke Moscow has arrived, President Kennedy. So that's a good sign, right?
I mean, it's comforting to know that it's inevitable. We can wash our hands, as they say.
Yeah, I think part of the reason that it's difficult to teach the AI about de-escalation is it's hard to understand why something did not happen. Kind of like you can't prove a negative, right? And then the other thing is, of course, de-escalation requires a degree of what we might call humanity.
Yes, right? That pesky little thing that rears its head still to this day every now and then.
So, like, if you're just like a logic machine and you're going by the rules of game theory as worked out over the last 150 years or whatever, like, you have no regard for human life. Your only concern is victory, right? So, of course you're going to just use all the things available, right? Whereas if you're like an actual human being who's like, oh, like, do I really want to kill the peasant girl and like, the fields of the Soviet Union or whatever? Like,
yeah, if you trained this model with an input like the top priority is to not kill people, it would then be like, okay, maybe de-escalation.
Possibly. But of course, there's also the problem that these are black boxes where we don't entirely understand how it is that they're like arriving at the choices that they...
I like that idea too, that we don't have the information, so then we can start throwing around words like inevitable.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Well, it's inevitable. I mean,
look, the AI is going to do what the AI is going to do.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right.
It's also inevitable that we put it in charge of our nukes. There's no button we could press to make sure that part didn't happen.
There's no plug we could like pull out to prevent, now the Pentagon.
Well, I mean, just to make one last point before you go into, like,
please.
There seems to almost be like a bit of an analogy to how quickly nuclear arms got used after the creation of it, right? And this is to say, like, humans themselves, the ones particularly in the military, obviously, but even people in the public who supported this, or the people who were making the bombs, under the sort of like, with
the public inputs. The public had no input. They didn't know about it, right?
Oh,
it was a complete secret. But your point stands.
The scientists' inputs are that, like, this is going to protect mankind.
Right. Well, I mean, their thought was like, let's blow up an unused ship off the coast of Japan, so Japan can like know about it.
Right.
Like,
so what I'm saying,
the generals were like, I'm afraid that's not going to work. You see,
the decision to do that, right, is easier when you can't conceive of what it looks like, right? And in a way that provided a sort of temporary detachment from humanity, right?
That's right.
That I think helped facilitate the dropping of the bomb. That then, of course, like, even the guy who dropped it, was like, "Whoa, Nelly!"
Yeah.
and
did I do that?
Right. And then after that, like, we obviously aren't going around nuking each other all the time, and disarmament has been one of the major political issues of the last,
80 years,
post World War politics. And so, like, you kind of see the same thing with AI in the sense that, like, it doesn't have time to draw on these things. It doesn't have time to, whatever happens in the black box, to get to more nuanced forms of politics like de-escalation. And the question is, like, are we just going to end up putting these things in charge too quickly and have a very similar but far more catastrophic result?
That's well said. I think Oppenheimer, which we haven't talked about, but which inevitably we will talk about maybe soon, is actually pretty good on this. Like the point you just raised about, like, the scientists kind of going ahead and being like, well, we're doing this as like a defense because the Nazis are doing it. Well, the Nazis have defeated. Or can we stop now? No, we should keep. Oh, the bomb is done. Great, we're going to use it like next week. It's like, wait, what? And then, like, yeah. And I think your point is really well made. I mean, the Pentagon claims for them, on the record, that AI will never enter the final decision-making loop about the use of nuclear weapons. But my thought on this is, like, it doesn't, even if we don't just hand over the keys to AI, right? AI still exerts an influence on human decision making. I mean, there's a lot of stories about how, doctors who start using AI to help them read scans and stuff like that. If you take the AI away, the doctor is worse at reading the scans, right? Like, it's a crutch. It's something that allows us to use less of our mental muscle, essentially. And then when skills atrophy through lack of use. Which is really
like kicking us while we're down, because we've been fine tuning not using our mental muscles for a cute, like, 20 years or so.
Yeah. Big time. So I think even if AI isn't like controlling the final choice, if all the people in the military are using AI to augment their decision-making processes along the way, that has an impact. Did you see what I'm saying? Like, people's, like, perspectives are shifted by the fact that they're getting all their inputs from this,
of course,
this black box machine instead of.
And so then is that then, like, what you're saying, I think, is basically that then the people who are in charge, right? The simple fact of leaving them out of the decision-making process, right? What you're saying is they're actually in the decision-making process.
Right, because the people who are making the decisions have been shaped by AI.
Exactly.
Right? Like, the feedback is not, it's not like you can just have some guy in a black room who's, like, never been around AI. You know what I mean? Like, AI will alter the way our brains function, regardless of whether we, like, literally upload it into our brains, just through our continued interaction with it.
Well, it's, just to put a pin in it, sounds like it's inevitable. Guess they're not wrong after all.
Yeah. So, I mean, this story had me thinking, what better time to talk about the great movie of my childhood.
Me too.
Terminator 2, Judgment Day. Judgment Day. What a great title, you know.
You
Just
see this in the theaters, or
I
you
did
couldn't?
not. I was a little too young for it. I don't think my parents would have taken me. I think it was about 10 when it came out.
Mm.
91. I was born in 81, so yeah, that checks out. But I did see it at a child's birthday party, like a sleepover party with like 5 friends, probably in 4th or 5th grade, and it utterly destroyed me. Like just this, what I refer to as the scene, which is the scene when they're in the desert. Sarah Connor falls asleep. This is not Twin Peaks episode, although that has a great nuclear thing. Anyway, she falls asleep at this table where she's been carving No Fate, which we'll talk about in a minute. And she just has this vision of herself at the chain link fence. She sees another version of herself playing with her young child. She's dressed like she was in the first movie, as kind of like a waitress outfit.
Mm-hmm.
And then in LA, above LA, the flash, the nuclear attack has happened, and they are just incinerated, blown apart. You see the whole city's destroyed. Seeing that as a 10-year-old or 11-year-old, whenever I saw this, I had terrible dreams for months.
Really?
Yeah, I was like convinced nuclear war was, to use your phrase, inevitable. And I would literally stay up at night as the sun was going down. I remember like looking out the window and like looking for the flash on the horizon, just like waiting, like feeling like it was that inevitable. I eventually got over this. Thankfully, I'm not that.
Although very terrifying, an early example of like the way that apocalyptic culture and thinking and output and the sort of increasing obsession with it over the last decades, like made just in fact, not like, I'm not saying like Hollywood's out to do this, but like can condition people, right?
Yeah.
To worry about these things and contextualize them in their reality sort of before they take place.
Well, I think I was already conditioned by my parents. Both my parents were born in the late 50s, early 60s. And, you know, their earliest memories are like, I think my dad maybe remembers Cuban Missile Crisis, Kennedy assassination, duck and cover drills in school, all that stuff. My mom said to me, she's like, we grew up thinking the bomb was going to fall and none of us were going to have a future. And
Right.
This led to a kind of eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we die, to quote Dave Matthews. But I think he got that from somewhere else. But, you know, a kind of Epicureanism that dominated there, and that faded, you know, as the Cold War ended, as the 90s began.
And we were like, oh my God, we're actually not going to die tomorrow. What a nightmare.
But my mom would talk to me about this growing up. Like, oh, we had the duck and cover drills. You know, we thought the bomb was going to fall in any day, blah, 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 blah. So I think when I saw this, I was like, damn, mom wasn't lying. Like, look, this is what it would be like.
Yeah.
So that's what had such a big impact on me. And rewatching it today, I really think that scene is the heart of the movie, you know? Like, that is...
Geez, I wonder why you feel that way.
Well, no, just looking at the way the movie is...
No, I know. It's funny to be like, nothing has ever impacted me more. But you know what I think now? I think that's really the core of the movie. Now that I look at it clear-eyed.
Yeah, now that I've set my personal feelings aside, I've realized, you know, I mean, I consider this to be the ne plus ultra of nuclear apocalypse films. Like, there are a lot of movies about the nuclear apocalypse. That one scene for me is like, that gets it all. Like, that's it. And I also think that this movie is important because it came out at a time where it's clearly had an outsized impact on the people spearheading the AI boom, the Musks, the Teals, the Zuckerbergs, right? They were all of an age where they would have seen this when they were pretty young. And so when you hear Elon talking about like, yeah, I think like the safeguards of a doomsday AI are really not in place or whatever, this is where he's coming from. Teal, they're all thinking they're all thinking of Skynet, right? So, I mean, for those who haven't seen the movie somehow, like, I always ask my students, have you seen this? I mean, talked this up first week of school. I was like, we're talking about Frankenstein. I was like, what? Some other modern Frankenstein stories. What about the Terminator? Are you guys familiar with that tale? Like two hands go up in a room full.
Really?
Yeah, like these movies from the '90s are seen as like ancient history. By
Interesting.
yeah, but
I guess like, do you think that when you were being asked that question
did I see Star Wars?
about a
Yeah, I saw
movie,
Star
yeah.
Wars like 50 times.
Although I
Like,
guess it is fair, like Star Wars
it's a little.
T2 was big, but like Star Wars was a cultural moment in the way that T2 never was, right?
Was it? I don't know. T2 was pretty
I,
big. I think it was the
I,
biggest. It was certainly the biggest movie of the year. And
yeah, but like I mean like in the immediate, let's say like 10, 15 years after Star Wars, right? It was establishing itself as a truly like genre defining.
that's true. I mean,
And I don't feel
T3.
like
I
from
think
1991 to 2010.
2003 when T3 came out, which is
Exactly.
huge disappointment.
Yeah.
All right, that's fair. That said, you know, people should still watch the movie. It's pretty good,
No,
right?
it's great. I mean, I actually, we'll get started on it in a second, but I actually came away my experience is I think I watched it a fair bit later than you did. And so I didn't have the same like overwhelming fear that one might have had at 10 years.
Sure.
I was really more just like it was like
It's
it was cool.
It's
It was cool.
awesome.
It was cool the way they could heal from bullets. Like that's kind of how I was seeing it as a kid.
Yeah.
But now, like over all of these years, I've always been like, oh yeah, T2's I like it better than Terminator.
Yeah.
And now that we did Terminator a while ago, I actually like the first movie, I think much better.
Episode 34. I think as a movie, it's better, right?
It
Like,
just feels like, yeah, it feels more interesting to me. This one feels like a little bit one note of like they're just running and that's it.
yeah.
Whereas like some of the heart of the world and the dynamics that are at play and the complications of the time travel, I feel are dealt with more interestingly in the first one.
Yeah. And I think the first one is a much lower budget, so is a little less obsessed with demonstrating its technical
Yeah.
prowess. Whereas this, like the T1000, it's like, look, he's going to melt through the prison bars or whatever. It's like, wow. And I mean, it still looks great for CGI from 30 plus years ago, but it's not quite as mind bending now that like
That's right.
everything we see is, CGI to the max. Yeah, that episode was episode 34. I made a note of what were the earlier episodes we've done to bring on. I'm trying to become more organized as I age. So just a quick recap of the first movie, right? In 1997, Cyberdyne Systems, under contract with the U.S. government, turns on Skynet, an artificial intelligence system that will oversee the U.S. military's nuclear response and control all the nuclear bombers and nuclear missile sites via, sort of drone mines that it operates. About a month later, on August 29th, 1997, Skynet achieves what the film refers to as self-awareness, and so it becomes aware of itself as a like living entity, and it develops consciousness essentially. It decides that human beings are in fact a threat to its continued existence.
Right. It seems like our AI may have already gotten there, given how trigger happy it already is.
Yeah, exactly, and like how many people it's already induced to like
Yeah.
end their lives or kill their family, and so, I mean that's a bunch of horrifying cases of that already. Because of this, it initiates, and I mean, also Skynet is right? Like human beings are a threat to it. Like no one else is going to come along and like pull the plug, right?
That's right.
So Skynet initiates a nuclear first strike against Russia, knowing that Russia will retaliate and that this will kill, as the film is at great pains to say, 3 billion people. They keep sort of hammering that number home. This is called Judgment Day, and this initiates the War of the Machines. In the first movie, Skynet sends a Terminator back in time to kill Sarah Connor because her son John is going to be the rebellion leader who will be the only, meaningful opposition to Skynet. And in the future, John Connor's rebellion is on the
Which is really funny to think about that like no one could fill that power
well,
vacuum.
it's like great man theory, right?
Yeah, it's amazing.
I mean, it's so ridiculous, right? Like no
Humans
one,
wouldn't even react if John Connor's not around.
yeah, like just it's one strategic genius who had all the it's It's like the killing baby Hitler time
Sure.
travel theory, right? Um, so this time, Sarah Connor in voiceover. One thing I don't like about this movie is the use of voiceover. I feel like there's not a lot, but there's enough that it's every time I watch it, I'm like, oh yeah, the voiceover. Like it kind of takes me out of it a little bit. Sarah Connor's telling us that actually there was a second Terminator sent back to kill this time to kill John in 1995, and it's interesting that they set it 4 years in the future. I think that's just to bring it closer to the day of Judgment Day, the date of Judgment Day, right? To make it more
Young.
and to make John older. Because if it's set in 91, John's like 6.
No, oh right, that's what I mean though. To get him closer to 2029 at an age that they would want him, right?
Well, we know he's born in 84 because she's pregnant, or 85, right? She's pregnant at the end of the last movie from the time traveler Kyle Reese, right? So if they set the movie in 91, he'd be too young to be in the movie. And in fact, some would argue he is still too young to be in the movie. The other big thing I think hasn't aged that well is Edward Furlong's performance as John Connor, right? He's just a little bit annoying as a kid actor. So this is that story. Luckily, future John has also sent a Terminator back to defend himself, right? and who better than the exact guy who tried to kill his mom in the
right. I love the idea of knowing to send someone back to defend you.
Yeah.
But not just sending 100.
Well, I think part of it is that's explained. They don't have, it's enormously expensive to use time travel. So they only have 1 or 2 charges. And
I feel like you could at least get to 2.
Well, Skynet was able to send 2, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So John Connor's kind of a delinquent. The movie opens with the iconic nuclear wasted. First, we see the swing set, we see LA, and then it cuts to the same place, blasted landscape, pile of bones, skulls everywhere, and the human skull is crushed by the metal Terminator. And the metal Terminator is really featured in this for the first time. We sort of saw glimpses of it in the first movie, but metal Terminator is pretty cool. I used that for the icon this week. I think the future war scenes are pretty fun in this. They're a little bit expanded from the first movie. And there is the burning playground where the credits roll over it again. I feel like this is just very simple, sort of loss of humanity, innocence destroyed. There's a real focus on like childhood in this movie that I think was absent from the first. And as you know, that has my romanticism ears sort of burning, tingling. John Connor is the child in question, but it's interesting because his childhood is already kind of ruined by the fact that his mom is like a paramilitary maniac now, who's
become, in the eyes of the real world, quite delusional.
Exactly, and also a terrorist, right? I mean, she has a huge cache of like guns stashed in the Mexican desert that they retrieve.
But she's treated as like, there's the scene where the doctor takes all the visitors and it's like, oh, this is a very interesting.
Oh, this is a good case. Like, yeah.
She's created a whole fiction in her head about the future and the end of the world.
Which is funny because that doctor is in the first movie and like is in the police station when the Terminator comes and kills everyone. Right. So,
really?
Yeah. Like he's in the first 3. He's in the third movie too. Silberman. Yeah.
Do they explain why?
I think he's just, I forget where he is physically, like, but he sees the aftermath of this guy's rampage.
What?
Yeah. And he's like, no, she's crazy. That's not true. And it's like, well, then what killed all those cops? Like, what are you talking about?
Okay, well, we'll let that go.
Yeah, well, we inevitably do the terrible Terminator 3, which I did see in theaters, much to my chagrin. He's back again, and he's like, not again, In any case, Terminator Arnold appears again, reprise of the first movie. In the first movie, he beats up punks. This time, he beats up bikers, steals their $1,400 sunglasses.
I lost those
I know, that's terrible. Throughout the last week, Michael kept jokingly alluding to the fact that his sunglasses were
for $1,400. But the joke is on me because I was trying to, make people think they were better than they were. They were still like
well,
400.
yeah, they were still
So
expensive.
like losing them has been devastating. And I mean, me. I don't buy
Right.
anything to wear ever. This was, I'm gonna have some nice sunglasses for the wedding, and I dropped $400,
And that's
and I
it.
lost them at the wedding.
And they
And I
haven't
feel like it's karma for going around and telling everyone they were $1,400.
and they haven't turned up. No sighting of them.
Yeah, although I think it now makes them like 1,400 because now I can lay bare how like $400 for me
Is
$1,400 for a lot of people.
sort of like personal inflation
Yeah.
kind of. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
I like that. I like that. He gets his gear, he gets a bike, he's got his look back, right? We see John Connor, he's being raised by foster parents. They're awful, obviously. Sarah is now completely ripped. She's jacked. She's in a mental hospital, but she's doing chin-ups. She's nuts.
She's still ready for battle.
She's totally ready for battle at any moment, which is funny because in the first movie, she's just like a normal woman who's like working as a waitress.
Yeah, but now she knows.
And like in the 10 years since, she's transformed.
I think even we would drag our asses to the gym with this information.
I also realized that this movie is a big influence on the whole Rocco's basilisk paradox, right? Like the coming future AI will torture everyone who didn't help to bring it about. Have we should do an episode on that eventually, right?
Yeah.
But clearly Skynet is like somewhere in the mix with
right.
this murderous future AI, right? John is able to hack ATMs with a weird device he's presumably gotten from his mom.
Just kind of like a tacked on scene to be like, you can see how in the future he will be very crafty to fight.
That's true. And he does, to the movie's credit, he does use the ATM hacker again later. He has the photo of his mom from the first movie, which of course he does because Kyle Reese had it from the future, but I like that. I think she's at Pescadero State Hospital, but it's Atascadero is the real one. It's a sort of slight. She's playing nice. She's like, oh, I'm better now. It was all delusion. But when Silberman denies her release to a minimum, security prison, she goes nuts and attempts to kill him again. She's dragged off. Then we cut to Cyberdyne. Miles Dyson, who's the scientist who we learn later, will design Skynet, essentially. He has the arm and the brain CPU chip of the Terminator from the first film. So we have one of these time loop things where Skynet sending the Terminator back in time is what allowed for the scientist to invent Skynet, right? It's like, oh no, a black hole is formed. Paradox, aporia, save us, Derrida. Anyway, John Connor gets spotted first by Arnold, but then we also meet the other Terminator, Robert Patrick, who's great. I think his performance.
To me, he's by far the best part of the movie.
His performance is so good.
He's just so good. I mean, really compelling every time.
Just like dead-eyed, but also human enough to be believable.
Yes, and but like frightening.
Genuinely frightening. Like a mix of like a Jason type figure, a cop.
Yeah, the choice to make him so clean looking and yet so like evil in the eyes was just pitch perfect, I think.
Absolutely. And makes a lot more
he's not oversized like Arnie.
Right. It makes a lot more sense if you're going to send an agent to infiltrate humanity. It makes sense to have
you don't send the world's biggest person.
Yeah.
Like a person that people in real life see and are like, that's not a real human.
Originally, Cameron wanted to use Michael Biehn, who played Kyle Reese in the first movie, in that role. So it would be like he's the hero from the last movie is the villain from this, the villain's the hero, but I think that would have just been really confusing.
Mm-hmm. I would say so.
Also, he would be like older and like he'd be coming from the same. Anyway, it doesn't quite work. I think Robert Patrick is fantastic. So this Terminator is made of liquid metal, can transform into other people, can be a mimic. We can also make his arms into these deadly blade weapons.
And a
Uh,
lot of all of the cool features of him, one of the things that really I think keeps the movie from getting a little sort of flat because of the way the story just is like pretty one note,
pretty linear. Yeah.
is that his abilities aren't like described by a scientist at the beginning of the movie, but instead you're just kind of like seeing him do different cool stuff throughout the movie.
Yeah. Show don't tell. Classic. He is searching. He's going door to door like Arnie did in the first movie. Instead of just murdering everyone, though, he's like, "Have you seen this boy, John
No,
Connor?"
this is my favorite. This is one of the iconic parts of the movie, right? Like, have you seen this boy?
Yeah. It was parodied in Wayne's World, I think. Like a
I
bunch
love
of.
the foster mom just giving up the picture.
Oh, immediately.
Yeah.
I love the foster parents so much. They're such dirtbags, and yet they
Yeah.
live in this pretty nice house. Like,
Yep.
doesn't really track. He gets found. Finally, the T1000 is the new Terminator. Catches up to John Connor and his friend, who was Bobby Budnick from Salute Your Shorts. I don't know if you guys ever watched that up in Canada. It was a sort of Nickelodeon show. That the kid who plays his friend is like, yeah, I think he went the other way, man. He like diverts to the T1000 just long enough for John Connor to get in the hall. That great scene where he sees Arnold coming.
Of course, like the first fear is that someone might be catching him for the ATM thing, right? So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's also been, because he doesn't really believe his mom's. He thinks his mom's insane. Like,
That's right.
He doesn't believe in her vision of the future and him as this important leader. He thinks it's just a classic parental. You're going to be a big person when you grow up, In this case, she's correct, unlike everyone else's parents who are wrong. Essentially, I like that he's playing like a Space Invaders type nuclear war prevention game as well.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Arnold, there's that first confrontation where Arnold's like, "Get down," in the hallway and just starts shooting. I always love that moment.
Yeah, and like the kid trying to figure out, like, is this guy protecting me?
Yeah, like
what the fuck?
He grabs John, gets away, but eventually Arnold picks him up onto his bike. The T1000 is following in a stolen 18 wheel.
It's a great chase.
It's a semi truck in the LA River.
Just a phenomenal chase.
The semi truck gets its top blasted. It's just like, I love the scene of his bike. He gets picked up onto the Harley or whatever, and his bike just goes like crushed under the wheels of the big rig, and it's like childhood destroyed. Like, welcome to termination. Then my favorite scene in any film of all time happens, where they get away, and John's like, I want to go back to my foster parents. I need to grab some stuff. And he's like, negatory. That will be the first place the T1000 would look. And he's like, really? And he's like, I would. And so he calls, and the foster mom answers.
So good.
She's so nice. She's like, hey, honey, we're really worried about you. He's like, something's not right here. Like, she's never been nice to me for 1 second. And then Arnold says, what's the name of the dog? And he's like, Max. And then Arnold, doing his voice, and is like, Mom, it sounds like Wolfie's like upset. Is Wolfie okay? And the foster mother's like, Wolfie's fine, dear. Arnold hangs up and is like, your foster parents are dead. Just like the delivery of your foster parents are dead to me is the greatest. Anyway, cut to he learns the Terminator's here to help. It's a good Terminator. Starts to form a bond with it. Terminator has to obey him. He convinced the Terminator they got to rescue Sarah from the mental hospital, which is good because as they're going there, the T1000 is also going there, presumably to impersonate Sarah and use that as a way of getting close.
But what's also interesting is that, again, to go back to the AI discussion at the beginning, right, of like, well, is there a way to teach these models like humanity, right? It's interesting that in this movie, like pretty much from get-go, when John's
like, don't kill.
Realize they're together. It's like, if you have to do everything I order you to do, I'm gonna sort of start teaching you to feel and see what humans see, right?
That's right. That's why I think this is interesting. Like, it's not a great, like,
Well, this is where this is where there's like a cool story that shows how a kid like that at that age could project to be somebody who could like help
Right.
in right, like to make that decision, right? You could see, obviously it doesn't play out like that in the future, but like could that impact the way that these Skynet entities work in the future? And
Yeah,
maybe they won't be evil forever, you know?
that's right. And he has a strict no killing policy. He's like, you're not
Yeah.
killing anyone. When they get to the gate, Arnold immediately shoots the guard in the legs. John's like, hey, what the heck? He's like, he'll live. So he's going to be more kinder loving, but not fully non. He's not going to be
Takes time.
Gandhi, right?
Takes time.
So they have another great escape sequence. Sarah is already freeing herself by stealing she's already been quizzed because someone took a photo of Arnold at the mall, and the police are like, Sarah Connor, like, this guy, you were involved with this guy and his rampage in 1984. Like, what's going on? He's back. She's like, I don't know anything. She just pretends to be in a narcotized haze. She steals a paperclip, frees herself, clubs this guy who's been disgustingly abusing her when she's in a drug. Well, she's not really, but when she's pretending to be drugged. She gets a syringe full of Drano and takes Silberman hostage, which is great. She's almost out of the hospital when the elevator door opens and her tormentor from the first movie appears. And she's just like, ah! Like her terror in that moment, I thought was really great too. And then John is like, Mom, wait, this one's good. They get away. They go to Mexico. The scene happens. The flash in the sky. And the mantra of the film is really the no fate that she's carved into. No fate but what we make. Mm-hmm. Kyle Reese told her that. Right? And this is the idea of just there's no determinism. Even though there's people from the future who've come and are like, this is what happens.
Right. So there's many hallmarks of like a very pure form of determinism.
But what they're saying is this is actually a multiple world scenario where there are possible universes.
Right. It may appear that all of this is inevitable, but in fact it is.
Right. So they get her cache of arms. Sarah tries to ditch them in Mexico. She's going to go kill Dyson. She kills Dyson. That'll stop Skynet. John's like, this is bad. We can't let her do that. You're right. John has morality. Like no one else in this movie is really that moral. Sarah,
and just like just peeling out in like the station wagon is so funny.
Yeah. And like, she's like, I'm going to go across the border. It's like, oh, you can just drive across the border in the 90s. Like no one's like checking. It's like, yeah, whatever.
Even though you're all over the news having escaped.
Yeah, and anyway, never mind. They right to the point where the people in Mexico are like, "Wow, the cops are really looking for you." Like,
it's not the border patrol. Phew.
Yeah. She is outside Dyson's house. I forget where she got his address. Probably the Terminator told her, and she's got a silenced sniper rifle. And she just starts shooting, but Dyson's kid hits his foot with a remote control car. Another, the machines. And he flinches and moves.
Machine controlled.
Well, human controlled. Yeah, exactly. Like the Terminator that's controlled by John Connor. Anyway, there's a shootout.
Both the kids have their toys.
That's right. One is a killing machine. There's a shootout. She hits Dyson, but she doesn't kill him. There's a huge amount of gunfire. For some reason, none of the neighbors are alerted. Like, no one goes to check on this, which I find funny. Because she goes in to kill Dyson, and in the moment he's huddled with his family, his wife, his two kids, she can't do it. She still has her humanity. Even though she, in that scene, is kind of acting like a Terminator, her humanity still prevents her from behaving fully like it. Which I thought was good, right? Like, she really, and the way she acts, she really does carry herself like the Terminator in that sequence. And then you see her break down. Luckily, who arrives but John and the Terminator? And they start to make a plan with Dyson. They tell him what happens, and Dyson's like, damn, I'm responsible for the death of 3 billion people. Let's just burn my life.
To get, right?
Let's just burn my life's work.
At a time like this, I've just been shot, and now you're telling me I'm responsible for the end of mankind?
Not great. he he's like, well, fine, let's blow up. They burn all the stuff there. They head into the lab. Funny scene where he's like, yeah, I'm just showing my friends the lab in the middle of the night.
Yeah, we can all go in. They've all got guest passes to the lab.
They immediately just kidnap and tie up the guard. But
again, we see another example of like
humanity.
AI always wanting to escalate. I mean, you can't deny that there are moments in this movie where Terminator, gets things done by ratcheting things up a notch.
Right. And I guess
you don't want to let us in? Okay, I'll fucking kill you. Open the door.
Yeah. One other thing we should mention, because we're getting pretty close to the end here. Sarah Connor has another one of her voiceovers when they're in Mexico, where she's like, the Terminator is the better father to John than all the guys I dated. None of the guys were any good. They couldn't stay. So there's this weird inversion where the machine is the ultimate enemy that they're trying to prevent. But by the same token, this machine is also the ideal father.
Yeah, it's also like, did you need that much to have that breakthrough? I mean, most sons will tell you that if they could or program their own father, it might go better than the one that they had. Right? Oh yeah, he's a better father because John says what to do and he does it.
Yikes. But I like the ambiguity that introduces.
Yeah.
As much as, it's not that deep, but it's something. So they go into the lab, they get the stuff. John uses his machine again, call back to the earlier scene. It wasn't totally extraneous. John has the chip, he's like, we've got Skynet by the balls, don't we? Which is not at all annoying or awful thing to say. There's the great sequence where the Terminator holds off the cop with the minigun. The chain machine gun. And then he like scans after he's blown up this whole field. And it's like casualties, 0. He's like, mission accomplished. That scene with the minigun is amazing. Yeah. That's like, and even someone in the background's like, that's a damn minigun. There's a couple moments where there's little off camera like voiceovers of like, oh my god, what are you doing? It's quite funny. Of course, as they're defeating all these cops who've come, who should appear but our favorite person, the T-1000, who ominously rides his bike in. This initiates the final chase, where at first he's on a helicopter. They eventually get one of LA's many steel refineries. I mean, is this pre-deindustrialization? Were there still like steel refining places in LA in the 90s? Sure. Maybe. We'll allow it. Yeah. There's the scene where the T-1000 gets hit with liquid nitrogen. Arnold says, hasta la vista, baby. Shoots it, right? Iconic. Oh no, it's not dead. There's the final fight. Eventually, Arnold seems to die. He seems to be deactivated. But then, good news, alternate power accessed. Comes back to life just when we need him most. As the Terminator does the thing, the T-1000 does the thing where it impersonates Sarah, and it's kind of doing the same thing as the stepmother. It's like being a little too nice. There's something inauthentic. It doesn't fully grasp you. It's like, come on, honey, we've got to go. And then like the real Sarah comes up behind it.
Yeah, it's like trying to make like a ChatGPT your friend. And it's like, it does kind of sound like someone giving me advice, but it's a little different than a person. And they keep telling me that my short story is brilliant.
And that I'm a genius.
Yeah.
And that I'm right to disown my parents and stop taking my medication. Anyway, final shot. Terminator comes up with his hand cannon, blasts the T-1000 into liquid metal. The ring has fallen into Mount Doom. There's a real Lord of the Rings reading. And then they're celebrating, but he's like, it's not over yet. There's one more chip. So he has to lower himself into... One thing to note, he did lose an arm again earlier in the film. So he has an arm somewhere out in that debris of the factory. I wonder if that's what they found to enable them to make Terminator 3, right? Yeah. The cycle continues. And then just as he's about to die, he's like, I know now why you cry, but it's something I can never do. Which is funny because it's like, as you said, like the machine has learned through its relationship with John.
Yeah.
But it also is admitting its fundamental incapacity, right? I can't ever do it.
Right. And of course, the hope then is that those capacities, as frustrating and hurtful and complicated as they are, might be just the thing to help John Connor and this sprightly band, pull it off.
Right. Although now maybe they won't have to because they've destroyed the chip, they've destroyed Cyberdyne.
Sure.
Although, as we'll find out in Terminator 3, that's not the case. So there's this weird thing where now Sarah feels liberated because she's been existing in a world where the future was set for her, but now it's like this like black highway stretching on into futurity is the image that she uses. And in fact, the image that the film ends on is like this sort of highway car rolling over a highway. If the machine can learn the value of human life, maybe we can too, I think is also the sort of message, right? Because ultimately the Terminator, Skynet, all of these things, all these death machines are just a reflection of humanity, right? Yeah. I mean, it's not like, the machine killed someone. No one had ever thought of that before. It's like, no, like that's the problem. Like someone built this killing machine in the first place. So, fun movie. I kind of agree with you. I think the first one is better. Like, it's just a better movie. Like, it's tighter. I
mean, it's also like it has the advantage of being the original. They can't like just explain the cool stuff about the world again. Everyone knows that information. So that's right. An inherent disadvantage. And this is still like, in terms of sequels,
it's one of the best. Yeah.
This is one of the best. And I'll give it that. Like, I don't think there's a massive drop off at all between the two movies.
Yeah. I agree. Any final thoughts on Terminator?
I don't think we're gonna do T3 ever, right?
Probably not. Yeah. I mean, depends on maybe for episode 300 or something if we go that long.
I don't know. You saw it in theater?
Oh yeah. Did you see it?
No. I assume it's a mess though, right?
It's just not. It's kind of more of the same, but not as. And I don't think Cameron directed it also. Okay. So I think that's the biggest problem.
We don't know what we're doing next week, right?
We have not chosen, but we'll talk about that off mic. But
yeah, we'll tease it. We'll tease it this week.
Oh, we always say we'll do that, and we never do it. I love it. If you do like the show, however, you can follow us on the podcatcher of your choice, and if you really like the show, you can give us a rating and or review on that podcatcher. You can also follow us on Instagram at the End of the World WMS. I can speak still. Where we do not necessarily tease what we're doing next, but we do often post reels that are highlights of the episode of each week, and we've had some pretty funny, pretty witty reels lately, if I do say so myself.
I agree, and everyone should go check them out.
Go at once. It's inevitable that you check them out. And it's inevitable that we will be back next week. But until then, this has been the End of the World with Michael and Stu.
I'm Michael.
And I'm Stu. And we will talk to you real soon.